How to order those.
This content. Oh, okay. She's having us go live. So.
Do we need to click anything? Okay.
Let me see. All right, we are live.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi,
Okay. Push that. All right. Woo. I think we have it. Now the screen is not changing for me. Do y'all? I see Dawn. All right. Let me put it to this first. All right. Okay.
And Lola.
Hello and welcome to my channel. This is The Awakened Jen, and tonight I am joined with some of my favorite people, my fellow SRTV certified readers, and we have a night planned tonight. I'm sorry, I'm nervous, for Galentine's Day, and this was an idea brought on because of the astrology that's happening today, and so we've got Dawn today is going to share about the astrology for us, and then we have Angie. Let me point to Dawn and let Dawn introduce herself, actually.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Dawn Hild.
And then we have Angie. She's going to do a meditation for us. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Angie O with Learn Love Tarot through Soulful Revolution.
Right. We have Elizabeth. She is going to talk to us about mourning grief.
Make it as positive as possible. But yes, hey, I'm Elizabeth with True to It Connections. And
Ceree is going to be joining us a little bit later. She said she would be a little bit late into the meeting, but she is going to be telling us how to manage these energies that we're going to be talking about tonight. And then we also have Wendy here tonight. She is just going to be with us tonight for the commentary. She's going to help ask the good questions, and I'm sure that she's going to add a lot of value just with, you know, what she's going to share with us too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dawn and let her start sharing what she's prepared for us. All right.
Okay, well, what I want to start with is the fact that everybody right now is going through very volatile emotions because right now, actually exactly earlier this week, I believe on the 19th, the North Node and Chiron were exactly conjunct, and they're still conjunct at the same degree right now. And what that is doing is bringing out triggers for everybody. And what has happened for us as a collective is that we've been dealing with the nodes being in Aries and the South Node being in Libra. So we are having a lot of energy regarding relationships, especially with Libra being the South Node. There's been a lot of people leaving our lives, whether we chose that as a decision or that person chose that as a decision. And let me tell you, sometimes rejection is protection. So in this instance, I think that what we're trying to do is saying the astrology will help you also with knowing what's going on with you, and then also be able to help you with that healing. Everyone should at least take note of the fact that you can work with these energies in astrology, even though right now I know that it's very difficult for everybody because we are going to be dealing with relationships, because we're having all of this energy come up in the eclipses as well that are coming up in March and in April. There's still a lot of relationship energy that we're still all working through that. And one of the things that Chiron is doing with the North Node, Chiron is the wounded healer. And Chiron will make sure that wound that you've had for the longest time gets thoroughly cleaned out. So it's going to be a mess. It's going to hurt when they clean out that wound. But this is what shadow work is. This is what we do to take care of that Chiron wound that we all have. And I want everybody to realize that it's not just you that's going through it. At least we kind of know what's going on with the astrology, but there's people that you know that have, they're just like, the world is blowing up. No, it's not. But everybody is having to face their own personal situations and having to work through them. And if they don't work through them, they get to repeat them. So ideally, everybody will be facing those situations and working through this. And what we're going to do tonight is also give you some information on how you can be dealing with some of these energies. So let me go through a little bit of the astrology. I don't think I'm going to pull up a chart for you, just because I think I want to make it more understandable in layman's terms. And looking at a chart isn't going to tell you the information that you really need. So Pluto, I'm just going to mention him once here, is the person that talked to both Venus and Mars and Mercury and the Sun before they all went into the rest of the way into Aquarius. So with that happening, then we have Mars and Venus meeting today at 6 degrees in Aquarius. They meet every 2 years, but this 6 degrees in Aquarius is a healing area. The reason that it's a healing area is because right directly across is the discovery point of Caraclo, who is Chiron's wife, who is also a healer. And she's the healer that holds space for us that are going through this situation right now. And they are working beautifully with the astrology to help with this healing. So right now, just like everything moves in the chart, Caraclo is in Aquarius, forming a sextile, which is a very beneficial working relationship with her husband, who is conjunct the North Node. So you have that healing of the actual Caraclo in the chart right now in Aquarius and in Aries. The husband and wife are speaking to each other for healing. And Mars and Venus conjunct are speaking to each other for healing. Both the masculine and the feminine inside of you, you're having to heal that part of you, because my feeling is, and the astrology bears this out, that we will have to deal with our own wound first. And then once we master that, then we can go on and then maybe meet our divine counterpart, who's also hopefully been working. So we get to that same vibrational level with everyone. So this discovery point of Caraclo is actually directly across from this Venus and Mars conjunction. So what I'm telling you right now is we are having, this is a time and the place to have space for yourself to do the healing. And when we have the lunar eclipse on March 25th, that will be at 5 degrees of Libra. That is that relationship area of the South Node that we're letting go of. So you will probably have something happening with that house in Libra, wherever that house may be for you, but definitely it's about relationships. It's about relationships, and you'll probably have, because it's the full moon and it's illuminating, it will illuminate how maybe you've been in your relationships before. Have you been too much of a giver? We're getting away from that toxic people pleasing, and your job is to find your own sovereignty. That's what Aries wants us to do. That's why Chiron is there to help us heal that. I am important too. I need to take care of myself. I need to heal myself. Just like they tell you, on the airplane, cover your mask first on yourself before you help the child next to you. You're not going to help anybody else unless you've gotten your work done first. What I also want to point out is on April 8th, the sun, moon, and Chiron will all be exactly conjunct at 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries. That is that self energy. That is, hopefully you've been working and getting, that'll be part of the healing. We won't be completing it because we still have the nodes in these two signs until January of 2025. And we also have eclipses coming up. These eclipses immediately, I know, on the March 25th and April 8th, those are eclipses with Libra and Aries. And then The one in September will be in Pisces at 25 degrees. And then the one following that, I'm not sure if that's a Libra or Aries thing, but I'll check. We have plenty of time before that happens, basically. We'll cover that before we get to that particular point. But really, we have opportunity to be healing and learning how to care for ourselves. So those are the major points that I wanted to cover, because I think right now we're identifying, as painful as it is, what our own personal wounds are and how to best clean those out and face those triggers. Because if something is triggering you, it's something you have to work on. So does anybody have any questions regarding that? I'll look at the collective group here and see if there's anybody that
Say something. So while you were talking about that 325 lunar eclipse, my Pluto is in Libra in the 7th house. So tell me about that.
Oh, well, definitely what degree is it, by the way? What degree is it? Your
It's 21 degrees.
21
Pluto.
degrees.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pluto is a pretty powerful planet. I would say that Pluto gives the flavor of that anyway. So it's always that transformational area of your life, and probably Pluto being in that area of your chart, that's a life lesson that you're learning about relationships in your chart, I would say. And being that it's at the very beginning, you said that's in Libra? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else at 5 degrees, or 5 degrees of any of the cardinal signs at all, or around that 5 degree within 3 or 4 degrees?
I have the 5-degree Venus. I have
Okay.
a 3-degree Jupiter,
Okay.
and that's the closest we get.
Okay. Yes, those would be probably square or opposition. What signs are there?
Let's see, I said Venus is in Taurus in the 2nd house, and what was the other one I said? Jupiter is in Virgo in the 6th house.
Okay. So those aren't in sign, those are not in signs that are cardinal signs. So they're a beneficial energy for your Venus, right? So I'm not, I can't do it in my head, but those would be beneficial energies for you, because it's illuminating those particular degrees with those other planets. So that would be a very good energy for you to be helping you deal with some of those relationship issues. Those are going to be beneficial for helping you deal with the relationship issues.
Definitely dealing with relationship issues. Definitely. All the relationships.
Help is coming. Help is coming.
And like I asked you earlier, we were kind of expecting the energy of this Pluto in Aquarius to lighten everything up, because we were thinking it was going to be like when it went in last year, and that did feel good. It has not felt good. It has not felt good. So, like, what happened?
Well, I think that you have to remember what we got a taste of last spring was the general energy that we will probably have throughout.
Grow into. Okay.
Right. So if you were having a good time, I was having a great time.
I was, yeah, it was great.
So what will happen is right now, because right away, this is unheard of to have all these planets within 30 days of Pluto going in, and not even 30 days, right? So all of that really concentrated energy took place, because all of those planets then started their own, what they call synodic cycle with Pluto. And some of them are going to take 2 years to get back to Pluto. And some of them are like Mercury will be zipping around and be back there pretty quick. So you have to remember that all of the planets were given their marching orders, because that's the first time that they met with Pluto in Aquarius, most of them. The moon probably met it up before, but some of the other ones had not. So you have all of those things happening, because how unheard of it is it for all of these things to be aligning, where you have both Venus and Mars, after just talking to Pluto days ago. Both of them were just days ago that it happened, like a week, I think, for
it was
Mars.
last week.
Yeah. So to have that tight energy, this is what's transforming everybody's relationships. This is why this is the time to be working on yourself, because you have to get that masculine and feminine in yourself lined up. And when Pluto first went into Capricorn back gazillion years ago in 2008, guess what happened then? Because it was going in, yeah, it was bad. So that is what I think you'll find, because all of these things started immediately in Aquarius. We're going to get that energy with Aquarius right away in the first 10 years of Aquarius. We're definitely going to get that energy, or actually I'm thinking it's actually the first 5 to 7, that we're going to be getting a lot of the new stuff coming out, all of these inventions, all of these new things, all of these AI things that just elevate everything. And we have to learn how to deal with it. And that's part of what our job is going to be doing, is learning how to deal with that energy. And then, because everybody's like, who can you trust? What? I don't trust any videos anymore at all, at all. So what I would say is, then just like with the banking crisis that happened, rules then got put into place for us to help handle that situation. And so we get the situations and everything in Aquarius up front, and then we're going to be working through that. And by the time Aquarius is ending, then Aquarius will just have, the Pluto will just have a little bit of cleanup issue, just like it's going to have a little bit of cleanup issue this fall, which should be interesting. But that will be September 4th, I believe, is when Pluto backs up back into a Capricorn. And it's like, that's one of those hold my beer moments.
I'm gonna stay home in
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah. Lay low and just be prepared. But what really I think is beneficial is we do have the healing energy of Chiron and Clerico going on. And then you're going to have in May 25th, Jupiter is going to be moving into Gemini, which is going to be in a trine then with Pluto. Trine, beneficial energy, right? So depending about what houses those fall for people in their charts, that's going to be beneficial energy for people. It's going to help things out. So hang on until then. It's going to be quite a ride because of the eclipses. But by the time we get Uranus and Jupiter are meeting on the 20th of April, that should be good energy. But then Jupiter on May 25th then goes into Gemini.
So we've been talking that this astrology is possibly going to bring in a lot of awakenings. It kind of makes sense that we're all going through what feels like a dark night of the soul, getting ready to go into this next phase.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I wanted to let everybody know that you're not alone in this. Everybody else is having to face their own demons. And the astrology is there to help you work through some of these issues. If you say, okay, I have Mercury in a beneficial, so me at a certain time, I will know that I can talk through this situation, because it's going to be in a way that's going to be in a beneficial aspect to that particular area of my chart. So there are things that you can look at also in your natal chart, which ideally you would be able to look up with your actual time of birth, because your first breath that you draw is when your natal chart gets created. It doesn't matter if you were born C-section or whatever. It's when you drew your first breath. That's how it's defined.
Okay, did anybody else have any questions for Dawn?
That was really
So I think
well
it's
said.
interesting that, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I just said so well said.
Oh, it's so I eat all this stuff up. I love it. Love, love, love. I thought it was interesting, like a relief anyway, John, when you said like the first 5 to 7 years, everything happens so fast. And that's why it does feel so different than that little release time or that little breath, because I did not love Pluto and Capricorn. I did not enjoy that. So when it was in Aquarius, it was like, this feels so much better than it was like countdown to January 20th of when it happened again. But it does feel different because you said everything's happening at once. And that made me think of okay, this is the first week of school, and here's the material, and we're having our quarter exam next week, next Wednesday, 1 week later. So instead of having the whole quarter to study and to learn and to roll out the learning of what you're expected to know and understand, it's like, boom, we have the test next week. Would that be a good way to explain it?
Yes, yes. And I think we're being given the time now to really work on ourselves. That's what the astrology is, so much a beautiful symphony where right now is the time. And when I've been reading people and looking at people's charts and their cards, it's now is the time for people to be working on themselves. That's why the North Node is in Aries, and it's going to move to Pisces, which means then a lot of people are waking up. First, you have to know yourself, and then you can start looking at your spiritual part, which is what Pisces is. Pisces is the end of all of the signs and the most one related to the higher self. So when you're looking at those things, I think that, you have to give yourself grace and have patience. But you're right. It is like that kind of energy where we're going to have a lot of things. Just because Aquarius is going to be, it's an air sign. It's an inventive sign. We've got Pluto there. All of this technology is going to be just expanding in ways that we can't even describe right now. And it's not anything to be afraid of. It's just something that we're going to need to use discernment to decide what we want to utilize of this technological advancement, as they say. And because I do believe, certain technology is great, but we're also having everything that we do, noted, like, debit cards and all of those things, everything gets tracked. So what are you willing to give up for those kind of benefits of the technology? And that's something that everybody has to decide for themselves. I wouldn't feel anything is a cut and dried answer either, because I think there's going to be amazing, wonderful medical technologies that are going to be coming out that are going to be super beneficial. Elizabeth, yes.
To say something about that. Just yesterday, I heard, I don't have the source, but a legit source, that they have come up with what they feel is a cure for cancer. I think it was cervical, but it's going to be relatable to all types of cancer in India. And I know that's been coming, but it's like boom, boom, boom. And I grew up with the Jetsons, and we're having like the flying cars now, which I've always wanted. But now that I'm too old, I feel like I'm too old again, and now I'm scared of it. But I want my little robot Rosie. Wasn't it Rosie?
Yeah, Rosie the robot.
I like my little iBot. I feel blessed to have that, but I want the whole thing. And honestly, 10 years ago, somebody told me that we would, have the computer in our glasses. We would be able to take like our monitor, so to speak, and roll it up like it's plastic and put it in your pocket, and then fold that and look at it. And that stuff's rolling out right now. Like the minute Pluto went in and we shifted into Aquarius, I was like, whoa, fun stuff. I know it can scare a lot of people, and we have to put the rules in place to handle these changes, but fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Ever the teacher. I'm thinking of it in case people don't know what waking up is or what this self-improvement work
Good job.
is. How I see it in my head, especially after the reading I did last night, it was like it just boom, it was all of a sudden there. It's Aquarian energy of sorts, right? It cuts both ways. And that means, yes, the aha is there, but then that other side of the sword of that, it's growing pains, right? It is painful. And when I'm teaching learning English learning students, you have to understand that just because it's like an iceberg, if everybody that's listening can think of it as an iceberg. You only see the top of that iceberg, but underneath you have this huge, massive piece that's only showing a little bit up at the top. And just because they can speak very well to you back and forth does not mean that they are comprehending text. They're not comprehending everything that's been taught. Like, that's a process. It takes about 11 years for them with a young mind. That's not adults. We take a lot longer to learn a language. But to learn English, it's 11 years to fully get from just that little Bix component of the surface level English. And they, they watch TV, it's in music, and you would never know that they have no idea. They're not picking up what you're putting down because you can't see what's underneath the water. And what's been coming up for me in the readings and the energy is like the bottom underneath the ice is starting to be exposed. And that is an overwhelming feeling of going, oh, all that's down there. And then just kind of taking a breath, looking at it from a beginner's mindset and going, it's all right. We're all doing it together. Even if we have like a little tiny thing on top of our iceberg and underneath it, we've got a submarine, it's okay. We all have stuff in there. And this is going to help us feel better. It's going to help us show what beautiful landforms we all really are in our fullest self. So, but it hurts a little bit to get there,
I love
would that be a good way to explain
Yeah.
it as well to people?
And I want people to realize that this is also with this Mars and Venus, it's also going to hit their chart personally. What house is this Mars-Venus conjunction in? For me, it's my 9th house. Yay, a very beneficial house. I also have my moon at 6 degrees Aquarius, my natal moon. So this is like, and right at the time that this conjunction took place, the transiting moon was sitting on top of my North Node in Leo.
Wow.
So yes, I'm having some
That's fun.
super changes coming. And this, like I said, the second that Pluto went into Aquarius, it was just like, so the energy, I mean, but I've been through a lot.
My chart.
I'm not a spring chicken. I have had to deal with stuff in my life, and I'm a different person than I was 20 years ago for sure, and even different than I was 2 years ago.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, there's so many huge changes coming through, and I will tell you that people are like, "Oh, I'm really want to get into this. How do I learn?" And I'm like, "Let me tell you, I would have had a guidebook, but guess what? Your guides and angels and spirit doesn't give you the guidebook because you have to have your own aha moments. I wanted the guidebook. I was like, give me the guidebook. I'll do whatever it says. It doesn't work that way. So know that you're in the right place when you're holding space. And because the North Node is in Aries, it's about those relationships that don't vibe with you anymore. And sometimes it's about your vibration has gotten so much higher that the other people are falling away.
That's happening. Yeah.
So you have to remember you need to, because down the line, they're going to get their chance. They're going to get their opportunity. And some people are going to be a bit lost, but you can be a 3rd grader helping a 1st grader. So if you have like a friend, you've been like at a year or 2 working on yourself, and then your friend is like, I feel like I need to like find myself more. Where do I start?
And
You can help them.
some practical application. I think, Dawn, to your point, to be able to know that you need to do the work, you first have to be able to listen. And we're so busy running around and we got so much noise in our head, until you actually get really quiet, it's hard to understand and listen to what the direction is. So meditation for me, I mean, I could meditate if I sat down for 2 minutes, I'd be asleep. So doing meditation for me was my way of getting quiet so I could hear the messages and to get still within. And I think if people could just practice that, just find a quiet place, even if you start out for 5 minutes, just thinking about nothing, and whether it be watching the ocean or, sitting by a tree or just being peaceful. But meditation allows you to really calm your heart. It allows you to deep breathe, to relax, and to get into that theta state so that you can hear those messages. And until we hear the messages, it's not going to be easy for people to figure out how to get started. So for me, it started with a simple thing is meditation. And you don't have to meditate. I mean, I'm not wearing robes and, sitting cross-legged 8 hours, going into a trance. It was 5 minutes sitting in a chair, and that was it. And it doesn't have to be special. It just has to be quiet. Just quiet the mind.
I think meditation is really misunderstood by a lot of people, though. I mean, I for sure did not know until a couple of years ago that like meditation really isn't trying to do anything. It's just letting it just kind of free flow. Because I thought that if you had like thoughts coming in, you were doing it wrong. Like I thought there wasn't supposed to be anything. So like I love that we're talking about meditation because I know that a lot of people could benefit, but they need to understand how it works.
And many
Absolutely. And just the breath itself just relaxes your central nervous system. So that part is really important to understand, that we think, oh my gosh, I'm losing it, or like I'm out of control. Your nervous system is out of control. You are triggered. That means you're dysregulated. So your body is not functioning in the way that it would normally function in a non-stressful situation. Chemicals are being released. You cannot control that. You have to get your body re-regulated before you can try to start troubleshooting solutions, because you're not going to be able to, because it's a biochemical reaction that you cannot help. So I
This
think
was
if
a
that
lot of what
brings
MJ talked
relief.
about yesterday in
Oh, really?
Pathfinders too. She
Yeah.
really did talk about that dysregulation, how you can't connect to your intuition when you're that level dysregulated.
Yeah. It's like there's static. It's like weird, Fritz the night out dating ourselves, but the TV goes off at midnight, and that's literally, you cannot connect. You can't get, it's hard to get grounded. That's when I, even teaching yoga 25 years, when you're in that state, I have to completely flip the script and do something different. I need to go outside and walk around the house, or, take Lola on a walk. I have to jump in the shower with cold water and shock my nervous system. Like, you have to be able to flip it, because when you're that wound up, it's hard to even get yourself into a place where you can calm your mind, unless you're just inserting some kind of a shock and like a snap out of it, moonlight moment into MJ's one of her favorite movies, like a snap out. That's literally what it's like, though. If you jump in the shower for 5 seconds, yeah, it sucks. Nobody likes the cold water, but there's medical benefits to that. So,
Yeah,
and
I
it
call
does
it the
work.
hamster wheel. When you're
Yeah,
just lost in your brain and you're running on the hamster wheel and you're not going to get anywhere, and it's exhausting, but
yeah,
you have to get back,
physically.
like ground yourself into your body so that you can actually start
Mhm.
calming the mind so that you can move forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tamping
This feels
down, we
like
were
a
talking
good,
about the walking stick and getting into the earth, just like, literally pounding that stick every step. That beat in your body is then helping your system re-regulate as well.
this feels like a good segue into your part anyway. So if you want to go ahead and
Oh, yay. Okay. So I'm going to take us just through a brief meditation. Once you feel that you are in a state where you have rested and you're ready to kind of face at something, not when you're in that wound up state. If you are, there are a couple little quickie things that I can show you that regulate your nervous system. It's called a breathing, it's a breath smoothie. So I'll just show us that real quick because it's fast. Used to use it to calm students down in the hallway, and it works. I mean, it's less than a minute. So we'll start there, and then I'll take us just into a regular meditation, if that's okay with everybody. Okay,
Yeah.
so it helps if your feet are flat on the floor, if you're not able to sit and get grounded anywhere. But basically, you're going to bring your palms together and you're just going to find a pressure point in your head that feels good for you with your thumbs. Take a nice deep breath in, and just in your mind's eye, you're just going to see the color purple. Just hold it between your palms as you're breathing. And then when you're ready, you can start just pressing. You can even make circular motions, one direction with your palms and then the other, whatever feels soothing to you. And then we're going to sit up nice and straight, relax our neck and shoulders, take a big full belly breath in, seeing that purple light. Form a heart with your fingertips. Place those fingertips on your forehead. Breathe in. Now we're going to open our imaginary curtains across our forehead and just start to see lavender. Tuck that bright purple behind your ears. Trail your fingers down your chin and right into your heart center. Breathing in. And as you exhale, just allow that lavender and purple light come down behind your hands. Okay. And that's it. That is a breathing smoothie. And that's 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay. So I don't know if you guys felt that or not. I always do, but it gets you back into a state where you can meditate if you struggle with meditation. So we'll go into, I'm going to use the metaphor of a tree, the tree of life. And as you don't, a lot of people don't know their body components, so I won't go into musculature and bones. So I'll use a tree. And we're going to start with that root and right in the ground. So again, we'll have our feet nice and flat. And just regular breath. And all you're doing is observing before we even get started. And we might think, okay, I feel my breath in my chest or in my belly. I notice that my shoulders might be tensing up, or I feel really tight in my throat. And just let those observations come. And then you can open your wrists on your lap if that feels good to you, to be in an energy of receptivity. And you're just going to take a nice, however you breathe, big breath in, big one as you can. And exhale it all out like static. And again. And the last one. Go all the way down to where you're sitting, right in your seat, and just feel your lap get nice and heavy wherever you're sitting in your seat. And then notice as you're breathing in and out that your breath is flowing. And just out of curiosity, you can count how many seconds. I'm inhaling 6 seconds. Okay, I want to exhale 6 seconds to balance that, whatever that is for you. Just kind of take your little note and observe. And if you do feel your chest still a little bit tight, or you notice an expansion in your chest, you can take one hand and place it on your heart center if you need a little extra calming, and just allow that breath to lift in the chest. And then on your exhale, use your hand to physically help that breath come down right into your diaphragm between your ribs. And then this time, as you breathe in, inflate your belly like a balloon. And deflate, and you can squeeze around your spine if that helps you. It can be a yellow balloon, so we're inflating and deflating. And as soon as that breath comes back into its rightful place when we're born, we can relax our wrist again and come back down into that root of our tree. As you're breathing with that belly breath, just see the color red if you can in your mind's eye. And underneath the ground, you see all the roots of your tree growing and connecting, going deeper into the earth. Just let them grow and notice where they meander. And acknowledge that if there's some rocks or nuts or whatever's in the ground, we're not pausing there with our root. We're simply rerouting the root and we're going around it, digging deeper into the soil. And we may encounter other roots here from our loved ones and their trees. And we take comfort in that feeling of being grounded and rooted into the earth. And if it helps to see red writing, you can think, I am grounded, I am safe, I am protected. And as you're doing that, just give an internal squeeze. Then you may see the color red. You don't have to. You may just feel and see those roots as you're squeezing there. And on your next breath, we're going to kind of elevate her up a little bit just past the soil. Underneath our belly button, we're going to squeeze those lower abdominals. This is going to represent the trunk of our tree. And here you notice its sturdy base from the roots and the power and its groundedness. And we're just going to peek in our mind's eye inside the center of your tree and just notice how many rings of your tree that you see, 1 year represented for every year of our life. And take pride in those lessons and in that growth, how long it took to grow into the tree that you are today. And as we're seeing, and we can squeeze that lower belly, giving thanks for those lessons and for those years of life and what they taught us and brought us. And as we were breathing in, still seeing the color orange or the rings of your tree, you may see the words in orange. I release all false evidence appearing real. I use my power and my time, my creativity that is my own to bring myself to this powerful and creative place. I have my own unique creation to bring to the world that is unlike anyone else's. On the next breath, we're going to lift our rib cage, just creating a longer trunk of our tree. And as you're inflating that yellow balloon, just feel the sun touching the bark of your tree. Maybe notice what kind of tree you are. Are you a bendy tree that sways? Are you a mighty oak that's sturdy? Where are your branches starting as you're coming up the trunk of your tree? And as we're breathing in and expanding that breath, noticing, and maybe even for the first time, how plants lean themselves toward the sun, and allowing our tree to guide us and turn towards the sun, towards what simply brings us joy in the very next moment. Nice deep breath, really relaxing the abdominal muscles. Try to see how big you can expand your trunk or your balloon. And as you exhale, squeeze all around that first ring of your tree, right in the middle. And on the next breath, we're going to lift our chest a little more skyward so that our shoulders maybe drop down our back a little more. And as we move from yellow up into the branches of our tree, representing our lungs, inflating as we reach towards the sun, allows that oxygen exchange to come out to the very tips of each and every branch. And then it circulates back down and to the root for nourishment, bringing the life and the security and power and groundedness up into the branches to the tips and back down to the root. feeling the power of your tree, seeing all the branches and how much more powerful and light that breath feels when we make sure that breath goes out to the very tips for nourishing the leaves that are going to appear on those branches. Inside the branches of your tree, you may or may not notice any animals that are dwelling inside, any insects or butterflies, the time of year that it is, what the animals are doing, how many there are. And just notice how the branches of your tree are enjoying nourishing those animals at play and those everything in nature that is giving back to your tree as well. And then inside of that tree, we're going to visualize our own cup as if all the rain can pour right into the center of our tree. This is our green section of our heart, and every breath we take in through the nose, you can imagine that you're filling that heart's cup, or that you're filling the heart of your tree. See it fill halfway. See it fill 3/4 of the way. And inhale, allowing that cleansing water to fill all the way to the top. And as we exhale, notice that as the water overflows, it is feeding and nourishing and offering fresh love, fresh water to everybody that is dwelling around and within our own tree. In this understanding, we understand that we cannot pour or give from an empty cup, nor can we nourish without our own cup being full first, as that water will become stagnant and not be of help to anyone. So it is very important and an act of self-love to ensure that our tree is fully watered, full, and healthy. On the next inhale, coming up out of the branches, let's lift our chin just a little bit until your jaw releases. Inhaling, seeing this blue light from the weather around your tree, feeding the branches and the whole of the tree. Our throat chakra is our communication center. And here in your mind's eye, the leaves and the breeze. This is how we communicate to our own tree with the insides of our tree all the way down to our root, and how we communicate to the other trees around us. As we're breathing in, we're just reminded that all of our words that come to outside of our mouth or inside of our heads that are kind, giving, and are filling and feeding fresh water to our tree. And that all the words we say to ourselves and others are kind, helpful, and positive, and for their best and our highest good. On the next breath in, leveling and lifting and lengthening our spine, we can level our heads. Just take your mind's eye above the leaves, back into our third eye, or seeing that purple energy again. Coming back into the nourishment and the connectedness that is the whole of our tree. Breathing in that purple light. And as we exhale, we may come deeper inside the tree and see it as a violet flame that is flickering as we breathe in and out. Bringing our palms into prayer, we can come up into that seventh chakra above our heads, above the outside of our tree, breathing in. As we exhale, our arms all around our body, reaching as far as we can, as above, so below, around and front and all sides, sitting inside that sphere of light. This is our own tree and sphere of light that we are alone responsible for keeping healthy, kind, light, fed, and happy, allowing that tree to float towards its best and highest good at any given moment, understanding naturally and viscerally what would make us happy, how we can reach toward the sun. Imagine a golden light or an orb surrounding your own white light energy. Maybe you see it as a pouring or melting. Maybe it's caramel that encompasses your own light. Maybe it's gold. Maybe it's steely and protective. Understand that this is your guides protecting your energy, as we can do anytime that we feel we ourselves need protection and grounding. On the next breath in, allow this golden orb to be lifted up into the star chakra. And just take your time so that you can pass through the clouds, moving up into the stars. Maybe you see your favorite constellation or your own sign's constellation. And above that, carrying higher and lifting us even higher, all of a sudden feeling and seeing the most beautiful fuchsia all around our golden orbs. And here we are joining our loved ones, ancestors known and unknown, that love us unconditionally, that are helping us this lifetime to navigate being our best and highest self. We understand that we are learning. They are patient with us because they understand we are learning. Breathing in, say hello or feel the energy of anyone you know is protecting you right now. Just the first that comes into your mind. And see them holding your orb right in their palm and bringing it close to their heart. Understanding that you are protected, you are safe, you are whole, and you are perfect just as you are. On the next breath, feel yourself inside of that orb with your white light. See or feeling your golden orb be gently laid back down into the stars. On the next exhale, feel the stars gently roll you down into the clouds. Feel the softness of that landing, the gentleness of their touch, and the comfort. On the next big exhale, allow the sun's rays of joy slowly lower you back down into the earthly place where your tree was growing. Exhale back into your roots. Exhaling all the way down into your toes. Understanding that you are safe and you are powerful, just as you are right now. The light in me welcomes and honors the light in every one of you today. Know and understand that this light energy is available to you anytime you need to access it. This is your normal and enriched state of your own self, and it is beautiful. Namaste. Just allow your body to breathe and come back into the present moment as slowly or as quickly as you need to. Can start at your toes. Start moving your hands or feet. Moving your head side to side or up and down. And when you are ready, opening your eyes and not losing the feeling of your greatness. So I hope you felt the extreme powerfulness of that. I certainly felt your beautiful energy, and I feel so thankful for that. And understand that is you doing that for yourself as an ultimate act of self-love that is absolutely necessary. You deserve it.
Beautiful affirmations.
You're welcome.
Can I show you something?
Absolutely.
I think I have them right here. Oh. Chakra, I see in the light's a little too much. Let me pull them back.
I love that deck.
Have this deck? Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it's awesome.
The creator of this deck had more than one near-death experience, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Excuse me,
What's the name? What's the name of the deck?
it's the
It's the chakras.
Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck, I believe. Chakra
Yeah.
Wisdom. And after her near-death experience or experiences, she created these, and she came with fables. And so they're really beautiful cards. And then each color, I'm sorry about the lighting, let me hold it back. Relates to the chakras that we just went through with Angie there. And here's the green, and there's
The
really
chartreuse. That's a cute story. That's a cute
and
one in
there's a
particular.
lot of wisdom in these cards. Yes.
A lot. They're
Okay.
very talkative. And people really relate to those too, because they might be, you can see them when you're pulling your regular cards as well. You're seeing what chakras are really showing up for them. So if you do that for yourself, that could be a note to you about, wow, there's a lot of orange here. I really need to tap into my creative flow, or I could have a block there. I need to ground myself because if my roots aren't healthy and I don't feel safe, that's going to block that creativity.
So true. And then my other favorite one is White Sage Tarot. Do you have that too? White
I
Sage.
do not have that. You guys were talking about that, I think, at our last meeting. I want to get that one.
Oh, I love it. And it relates to, much of what you discussed with the oak tree and the chakras.
Okay, great. And that's just a way for people that, I find that have trouble meditating, or don't really know how, or just it's not, you think, oh, I got to make my mind quiet. No, you were just being, but that's a way to kind of help you see, kind of get yourself there without going, okay, I'm sitting here being quiet. What am I supposed to do? Just think Roy G. Biv of our, we start at that red root and go all the way up. And this is also do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, as far as frequencies and sound and tones.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions about that, or have any kind of experience maybe you want to share of that's what it feels like to shift your own frequency of energy? And that's how that feels, right? That's how that's how a relaxed state feels. It lands differently in your body when it's a fear response. It doesn't feel like open, right? It feels constricted. Maybe like even our roots are drying up, right? That's not our body's natural state. So you have the power all along. You just gonna click your little red heels. That's it. Follow
Talked
the
a
yellow
lot
brick
about
road.
Oz this week. Lots of Oz references this week.
Yeah,
It was that
that's one of my signs for sure. Yeah. A family, I'm sure everybody had that every year it will be on TV. You make the popcorn and everybody watches it because it's only on once a year. You know, it's not on demand. We have access to it anytime that we want to. It kind of makes it a little less special, I think. But that was a way to connect as well. So if that's a sign for you, Jen, like, oh, anytime I see a rainbow, or have your own little tells, write about it in your journal, because you will see them. If they see that you're recognizing them and noticing synchronicities, you'll get more. That's what I found to be true. Anyway,
That's a good segue into me. Is it my turn?
it is.
I'd say go ahead. Yep.
I'm such a goofball sometimes. So I'm here to discuss the uplifting topic of morning grief. And I can only imagine many people with the astrology playing out and 3D aspects of life that happen. There are layers, I think, for many people, especially as we get older, of trauma, of chaos, of change, of loss, grief, stress, caregiving, more death. Without going into a lot of detail about what I've been through, but even since I've been 3, a ton of health issues, double mastectomy. I've had 2 near-death experiences. But you keep picking up, right? But if you don't address it, a lot of dis-ease and disease comes about. So, my first big tip for anybody that has lost someone to love, or, someone's transitioned over, all of these big changes and moments of trauma and grief, that that you understand each moment when you wake up, you have to face it again and again and again. And many people feel like that's normal, grieving, healing. There's a comma with a healing. As a writer, I always say that. There's never a period. Healing, comma. But what I got stuck in after so much of, a lot of what I've surfacely talked about, was waking up, and when you're asleep, dreams, another conversation for another time, because I have weird dreams, travel dreams, but your mind shuts down, and for a little bit there, you don't think about all these things. And when you wake up, one of the things that inspired me a lot, and I'll go into that as quickly as possible, was Abraham Hicks. But how the heck did I find that? So a lot of it was my own awakening, and I was grieving immensely. Yes, I went to therapy. Yes, I was put on some medications. I don't knock any of that. Not at all. Hypnotherapy was great too. Probably one of the better things I did to start the awakening process. But I've channeled my whole life. But you still have layers of awakening as you heal, as you go through all these changes. And mine started when I was 3, but from 2008, all of that, I'm right there with you guys. And it culminated in 2016. So the point here is, I would wake up and you have that moment of just like nothing's really happening. It's a moment. And then it all rushes in. and it wouldn't stop for me, and I didn't know what was going on. You can be as enlightened and awakened and all of this that you think, but when there's issues in the tissues and all this dysfunction, and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not doing the work, it like flips a switch you can't shut off. And as I was walking today thinking about it, because a lot of times for me, walking, exercising is a form of meditation for me. And I get a lot of downloads when I walk, when in the shower and all that kind of stuff. But those first 5 seconds, I would be okay. And then I would go into crying. And when I was walking, I realized this went on for 5 years. That's a very long time. And that's really why I wanted to talk to people today about it. It's a thing to wake up and just immediately go, oh, and most people heal through that. I think most people, either they push it down or they're just better at it. I don't know. But 5 years, I thought was like, what is wrong with me? But at a point, too, it becomes a little bit of an addiction if you let it. And that's what I realized today as I was walking. I was like, how does something like that go on for 5 years? And you get a little bit addicted to it. So let me tell you about that. So here I am. I'm waking up crying. I can't seem to get better. I'm going through therapy. I, couldn't sleep. All the basics are really important. Sleep, some self-care, all that. Because sleeping pills don't work, all that stuff. Minimal fixes, in my opinion, unless you need them. But it was the psychiatrist who said, this is morning grief. And I'm like, well, what is that? And how long is this going to go on? And she really didn't have answers for me. You get 15 minutes and maybe some meds, or you get a little therapy, you get to talk it out, but they're not with you when you wake up and go, blah. And then, yes, I have kids. Yes, I had things to do, and I would pull myself together, do what I got to do. But it set the tone for the day. And it's very hard to go through life like that, right? When you just wake up triggered. And so, number one, understanding it's a thing. It's called morning grief. And so I started, I guess, thinking about that and researching a little bit. But what I started to realize is the downloads you get, things that just are like, hey, look, what is this Abraham Hicks thing? And what that was so enlightening. And then another reason like that I met Mary Jo and Soulful Rebel, these things just like started like, whoosh. So Abraham Hicks is the first 17 seconds when you wake up. And she talks about this. And if you can just be like, okay, if it's good for you to meditate, I don't think it was good for me the first 17 seconds to go, oh, I'm going to meditate. I start crying. So I had to be like, okay, no, like breathing and be like, okay, I made it 17 seconds. I can do another. Little tiny increments of not crying. And then you build on that and you build on it. And it's a little bit like Mel Robbins and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I would have to just also get up and get out of bed. That's where it becomes an addiction. I think if you're like, you wake up, you don't handle it, you go into cry mode, and then I didn't do this for 5 years, but some people, you'll just want to stay in bed. You won't want to take a shower. You won't want to make your bed. You won't want to put makeup on. You won't want to go be happy because it just starts the day so wrong. And when I learned so much from Abraham Hicks just from working on what is morning grief, and all this channeling started happening. And what I did learn was building on those 17 seconds of gratitude, of just, okay, I get up, I have a roof over my head, I'm going to have a nice warm hot tea, and I'm grateful. And guess what? I didn't cry today. I didn't cry this morning. Now I might cry at 10 o'clock in the morning, but okay, I go back and I build on it again and again. And also, there are a lot of motivational speakers and therapists. And so I am not a therapist. This is my own experience. I just want to share. Because I just felt like my body was stuck in cry mode. That's a long time. So, again, understanding what it is, building on that little bit of gratitude and raising up the scale of emotions, up the chakra almost, right? Where your fear, and then you have to say, well, what is that? Is that anger? And then you start little by little raising your vibration and going up the scale. And that's a process in itself too. But not just harnessing that first, even 10 seconds when you wake up, and doing whatever little bit of time you have in the morning for self-care. Not everybody likes to get up and make their bed, but I'm a big believer in that. Like, don't cry, get up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Mel Robbins. Get out of the bed, make the bed. Because, now you've accomplished something. You said, it's a small thing, but like, oh, I'm grateful I made my bed today. Look at me. And then, you got to go take a little care of yourself. Maybe you don't want to do your hair that day, but you put a little lipstick or something, pull it back. Try, a little self-care. And then I believe in doing 5 things in the morning to help this. And a lot of it would take me going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to do it, to not be anxious, to get over the fear, and to get over the crying. If I felt like, oh my gosh, because I was really feeling abandoned, alone, and just overwhelmed by everything. And I know a lot of people go through that, and you just wake up and you're like, oh. So harnessing that and the gratitude and the peace, that first 17 seconds changed my life. Brought in Abraham Hicks, brought in like, oh, this is what's happening. Brought in Soulful Revolution. And also Abraham Hicks talks about the law of attraction. The more I lay there and cry, I'm getting addicted to this behavior. I'm getting addicted to what's the word I'm looking for? Procrastination. I'm getting used to not taking care of myself. I was like, gosh, it was almost like an addiction I had. And I think that made it harder to like change my mindset. So just again, really coming in clear in the morning and holding on to that, and staying grateful for every little bit thing I did have that was positive. And finally too, understanding everything that had happened to me. Some of it was my fault, some of it wasn't. But some of them were failures, some were successes. But it wasn't until I stopped crying and being so afraid that once I did that, I could channel. I could learn what I had made mistakes about in the past. I could learn why I was where I am right now and how to better move forward. And it wasn't until I stopped the fear and the crying that my intuition opened up, that I could let more of the channeling happen and the law of attraction, because that's what you attract then, is more wellness, less disease, more insights, and all this great stuff. So I just was like, "What?" Even though I had really been involved in this, I think all of my life, getting electrocuted at 3 during a 4-hour operation probably did something strange to me. But anyway, the other really helpful thing, because in 2016, now mind you, I've buried a child, but I have 2 others. I've talked about the cancer. Hello, everybody. Yes, I've had a hysterectomy. I mean, you name it, the ear thing. I like da 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 da. I took care of my mother with Alzheimer's, my dad with heart disease, held them as they crossed. But 2016, and I did write about it in un, Unbreakable Spirit. Where's the book? Unbreakable Spirit. It was a collaboration, because this is healing is a cycle, and it's wonderful to share our stories about what we've been through and heal. So 2016, I mean, technically my dad passed December 2015, and as my little animal lovers that you all are, you'll understand, my dad, my oldest cat, my fiance, because I've also been through a divorce and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to mention what my siblings did to me, or MJ would probably slap me right now, because I healed that. Okay, but then my fiance passed away, like, whoa, really tragic. And then my dog. So every 3 months in 2016, I was getting hit. And that started the whole morning grief thing. And I didn't know what it was. I was like a functioning addict with a morning crying problem. And it wasn't until I was able to define it, understand it. Good tips. You guys offer up tips that got me to quiet the brain, or keep it quiet for a hot second, right? And build on that with gratitude. And then in came that law of attraction thing. And look at where I am now. Look, like, it's really great. And let me not forget, that led me to such a spiritual connection with people who've passed. Where is it? Oh, I put it down here. And I first really focused on it because of MJ talking about the blue umbrellas. She just talked about it again, right? And everybody will say that. Okay, yeah, when you see birds, and I do really relate to birds and feathers, as you'll see. Feathers, coins, all these things. Okay, yeah, right. And I am thinking I'm pretty spiritual and awake, but I'm like, oh. Because when you want to be a medium, or you want information from them, you want, like, talk to me now. It doesn't work that way. Let me tell everybody out there that it doesn't work like that. What you have to do, though, is let go of the fear, let go of the grief best you can. Let the intuition and channeling come in. Pray, meditate, whatever term you want to use, to your angels, your spirit team, your loved ones, God, everything. Please support me. Be here for me. Well, first, let's be grateful. Let's give thanks as we do this first. Second, give them permission to reach back. So one of the things happened, the first thing, where's my little Let me show you guys, and then I'll be done real quick. Let me get all my little examples, because when you start this, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And the really cool thing is, believe it to see it. You do not have to see it to believe it. So I had to get it in my head. No, people talk about it. Feathers and coins and signs and umbrellas. Like, think of something. Do it. Right? And so I had to believe it to then see it. So the first time I tried it, I was like, it was around Mother's Day, and I was a little, obviously missing my mother extremely a lot. And it's been a long time. 2009, she passed from Alzheimer's. But all right, just show me a coin. And I was grateful. I gave permission. I prayed about it. I discussed it. And literally, I think it was a day or two. Here we go with the light problem. I was walking, though, if you guys can see it, it's a dime cut vertically in half. It's not your normal. And I was just walking like, oh, what's that? A coin from your mother? Really? Yeah, it's cut in half. How much more do I have to show you? Okay, well, a little bit of belief, a little bit of belief. So then I would do more of this work. And now I've lived in Florida my whole life. I'm a Florida cracker. So you would think, oh, of course she's going to find feathers. No. And I'm a horse girl. There would be feathers all through my life. Not until I started this. And it's so cool because I feel so connected now. And the more I do it, the more, look at this feather. That is no ordinary feather. Another one. Okay. Then, you know what they say about the white ones? You guys, they like fall out of the sky at me. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. I started saving. Then Thanksgiving, another really hard time. Holidays are hard. The cries are going to come. I was on a golf course that is no longer in use. I wanted to find a golf ball because that's where my fiance had been living. And I'm like, would you ever just show me a dang golf ball? Because nobody golfs anymore and there's no golf balls. But I'm like, come on, just make it happen. I didn't get a golf ball, but I show you what I got. OMG, where's the pink one? Where's the pink one? Here it is. That should not like. Can you see how pretty pink this is? Pink? And this is all about love. If you look up what it means to find a pink feather, it is absolutely everything I asked for that day. And I was like, again, are you kidding me? Really? Am I going to believe this? And then my spirit, my angels, my loves, where is it? This one, I'm walking to my car holding this like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Is it for real? This sucker, and I can show you guys a picture on my phone sometime, was stuck in the dirt just like this in my path. And that is not a normal feather either. So it is like my spirit guides were just like, yes, baby, we got you. We're here. What else? You want coins? You want feathers? What else? All right, wait for it. Told you about my dad passing, and I had been taking care of him for about 4 years. After my parents had divorced late in life, he reconnected with his high school love. Oh my God. I didn't know that man had a romantic bone in his body, but it was so cute. Little love notes, and like they were back in high school again, and just the love. Well, she'd never been sick a day in her life. She got lung cancer. Gone. And my dad was so heartbroken. I won't go into all the religions that I'm part of, but I come from a very mixed background. And my dad my dad is Jewish, my mom's Episcopalian, I married a Cuban Catholic. Okay, I said it. Wow, I'm spiritual. So my dad, though, he had a lot of questions, especially late in life. He's facing death. He knows it. His love has passed. And he read books like Chariot of the Gods, really wild book, recommend it. And he had these out there thoughts, but he wasn't believing it. But then he started, I guess, Jean was my dad's high school sweetheart that passed. And for some reason, they had a few pinwheels, okay? My dad had a beautiful koi pond and with rocks and all this stuff. And then there's these like silly couple pinwheels. I'm like, what's up with the pinwheels, Dad? He goes, well, Jean liked them. And so I'm leaving them. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, can I tell you something? I'm like, what? He goes, they move when nothing's happening. I ask her to move them. I was like, I know. Isn't that cool? He's like, you believe that? I'm like, yes. Tell me more. Tell me more. So then he goes, well, I got this clock that doesn't work at all. It's not plugged in. The batteries, I even took the batteries out. And every once in a while, when I talk to her, the pendulum swings. He'll be like, watch. Sit here with me. Watch. And we'll be watching. But you can't make it happen. I'm like, Dad, it doesn't work like that. Okay, and then and really funny too. My dad is really funny. His nephew, my cousin, writes for Seinfeld, by the way. Shameless plug. Unfrosted is coming out. You guys got to go see it. But anyway, so yeah, my dad, hospice is coming in now. And I knew I'm in a panic. I wanted hospice there 24 hours. They came up with a plan during this meeting because my dad pretended he was fine and he was flirting with the nurses and acting like, everything was great. And he didn't need, just come in, once or twice a week. I can do this. And I was there and my brother were all helping, but my dad's got it. And he even they're like, well, what religion are you? He goes, oh, I'm an atheist. What? I don't even know you guys how to explain that one. Okay, you're an atheist now, Dad, okay. But he still had these beliefs. And I want to say it was about 2 hours after the hospice team left, my dad actually went into cardiac arrest. He did not pass at that moment, but I knew, I was like, he's not okay. You guys, he's not. Like, this is going down. I want the team. Totally didn't happen. He went to the hospital that night, passed in hospice peacefully. So, obviously I told you what a rough year it was, and that kicked off a whole lot of death. And then I'm able to channel my dad at times. I'm clairaudient more than anything, and I'll hear things and stuff. And obviously I'm really adept at finding feathers now. But this killed me, and this just happened recently. It didn't kill me. I'm still here. Walking the dog, la-di-di-da-di-da-da-da, like I always do, every day, same areas. What do I find sticking alongside the sidewalk? Like, hey. And too, what I realized, you guys, my brother's dog had passed right around this time. And I didn't realize it at first, but I saw the pinwheel. I was like, no. You guys, that's my dad sent me a pinwheel. So cute, funny, all of that. But I am telling you, and anybody watching, believe it to see it. And it's so heartwarming. You will understand, you're guided, you're supported, you are never alone. And from there, immense healing. Immense healing. And then, yes, you can put someone else's oxygen mask on. Yes, you can walk your path and help others and not hold each other all codependently. Walk beside and guide and enlighten and awaken in people. But you can't do it until you've done it yourself. And then again, please believe it to see it. This is like over the top for me, over the top. Never in my life have I wanted a pinwheel. Have I bought a pinwheel? Have I looked like, can you imagine this all over your backyard? Like, he went crazy with pinwheels. I'm like, what's up with that? So, I mean, it's beautiful to engage in this energy and not be stuck in fight and flight and trauma and the 4 archetypes of child and victim. And because I could sit here and play victim for a while, but the real key is to quiet your heart, your soul, and your mind, and do it first thing in the morning, whatever works for you. Some people need, like me, I got to get up, get out, walk, get my feet on the ground. I'm a barefoot girl, you know, think I got to remind myself to be grateful. Some people need to get up, make their bed, take that shower, put their shoes on so they feel like, okay, I'm doing something. I think too, moms, dads, children, everybody out there, 1 load of laundry a day and the laundry monster won't get you. Because when you're going through all this healing and grieving, you let yourself go, the house go, everything go. So if we cannot cry when we wake up, get up, make the bed. And then if you want to journal, I love tarot journal that I learned from NJ. Because now I've got conversations. I'm not just writing down all the stuff I've been through. I've got a conversation going on. So I love that. But, you know, do it when you've calmed the mind and the soul and the heart. So I hope that was helpful.
That's beautiful. So, like, I wanted to just say to you, with your gratitude shirt, you are literally one of the most grateful people I've ever met. Every time I talk to you, you are just like overflowing with gratitude. I
Well, I
mean, it's
really am
beautiful.
grateful to you, Jen, all of you guys. I mean, this is what I wanted to attract. The gratitude is so real.
Me too.
I'm not that grateful to everybody.
But I mean, that gratitude really is
can be
the
real.
basis of the
Take it.
manifestation. You know, you have to be in that energy of, you know, the gratitude in order to bring more stuff in. So, I mean, you were spot on with that.
I know, and I wasn't really grateful about this kind of stuff till I was like, oh, I got to believe it and be grateful. And then they just start like coming in like crazy. So it's been a difficult but fun, interesting journey. And anybody out there that needs help with physical issues, mental issues, a whole lot of death and caretaking and children and divorce and what else? Near death, travel dreams. I'm your girl.
There's hope that, you know, the white feathers and doves. I had the morning doves yesterday. MJ was talking about the animals, and they're all over the place. Notice how many, notice how they're interacting. Are they with another? Like, what are they doing? They're all messages. It's all a message. You know, is there a white one, a white rabbit and a wild rabbit? Like, notice colors, notice the flowers there. It's all a symbol, like the flowers for my camping stick, no, it's like poppies. That was my little Wizard of Oz, like it's all, they're there. You just have to lift yourself up out of that grief to look
Oh my
and
God,
see.
yes. I've always been a nature girl, an animal person, but ooh, this is a whole new thing. I don't believe I put it on YouTube, but I did put the video on TikTok. I was in Arizona, beautiful place. Dawn's getting to go near there. Arizona, October, still hot, dry. I'm in a little park with my son and his dog. A monarch butterfly flew down right in front of me. I was like, oh my goodness, Jensen. He's over here with the dog, not paying attention. If you guys ever get a chance or want, look at the video. That butterfly, I got down, I was talking to it. It was like my little spirit animal. We had a whole thing, and then it flew off. Like,
You had a moment.
I had a butterfly moment.
That's
And I made a
awesome.
video about it. Yeah, I was like, that thing, it let me talk, it let me film it. It was like my little buddy. And my dad is woodpeckers, my mom are blue jays. I'm all about the birds too, but now the nature and everything. It's remarkable. And that has healed me a lot. But I am that type of person. So if you're a city person, tell me what works for you. But I hope that made sense, everybody. I know I rambled a lot. I'm not a true therapist. But until I knew what mourning grief was and all of this beautiful stuff that we talk about, I wasn't able to bring in more good. It's not always good, more good, right?
Energy first.
Yeah. All right. I'll be quiet now.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. I think that leads in really well with what Ceree was going to be talking about too. So if you want to go ahead, Ceree.
Well, I have a little bit of a technical challenge. Of course, the guys that help me with my yard are out with a blower, literally on the other side of the window here.
Of course.
Can you hear? Okay. All right. If we're good to go, I'm gonna ignore. So I'm gonna block their energy. And I think the whole theme of this, and I'm gonna keep it short because I know we've gone on a bit, and I want to give Jen you a chance to pull some cards because obviously would love to pull some tarot. But we've been talking about the theme of energy, whether you come at it from the standpoint of grief, whether you want to get grounded and centered, Angi, in a meditation. And I think you gave us some great tips. And I think, Dawn, to your point, from an astrology perspective, the energy is all over the place. And I think we have to expect that we're in for some interesting rides right now. And so I'm going to tie it together and then turn it over to Jen for some cards to pull. So I'm going to just give a few tips that people have shared with me. I am a Reiki master, so I do work with energy, but I actually had a clearing session, just a attunement with my Reiki master, who's a lovely woman, last week, and she gave me a tip, and I'll start with that one. And we were talking about when you get triggered, or there's something that happens that's external to you. Let's say that someone's triggered you to make you very angry. And she said, we're always in the situation where we can choose our reaction to what happens, and we can choose the energy that we want to portray, both from within, but also externally to those around us. And she said, what she does when she gets triggered, let's just say situation where she got very angry about something that someone did, a family member. And she said, she asked herself the question, if I could go from anger to the next level up, to raise my vibration, could I name something? And so she said, bear with me. What would you go from anger to? And I was like, neutrality. And she said, yeah, if you can name it neutrality, if you could just get from anger to a place of neutrality where you're kind of neutral and objective about it, that raises and expands your vibration. And so she said, you don't have to be, roses and champagne, every time something happens, but can you just train your mind when you're in the moment, when you're triggered or someone around you's triggered, stop and say, if I could make this one step better, what would that actually look like? And so if you find yourself being triggered, you don't have to go all the way from anger to forgiveness if someone's done something really crappy. And we've all, been subjected to that. So she said it's her way of continually just to raise her consciousness and her vibration, but not try to fix it and go from 0 to 180, in 10 seconds. And so she says that she's constantly doing that with herself and her clients to continue to expand her vibration, but also to continue not to go into a spiral, but always to elevate it to a place of either neutrality or positivity. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think, Dawn, you've said something really important. We're at this inflection point that, we talked about the wounds, we've talked about Chiron, we've talked about anything that you haven't dealt with, honey, is coming right back at you. And I think we're all experiencing that. I've experienced my own dark night of the soul. And do you let it take you away, or do you work through it? And there's a phrase, I love this phrase, the only way around something is through it. You can't get away from it. You can't hide from it. The only way is through. So how do you build the tools to help you get through? And one of the things, and all of us have said, we've had people in our lives, some of the readings that we've done, some of the people that we've worked with are absolutely spiraling because they don't have the tools. And someone taught this to me a while back. So anytime if I'm in this negative spiral where the monkey brain's talking and I can't get out of it, I'm triggered. And the energy's the energy's up and down, it's in and out, it's all over the place. And you feel like you're in a washing machine in this tumble cycle, just going round and round. Someone said, if you can force yourself, let's just say you're at work or you're in a situation, get out of that environment, walk outside, sit down somewhere where it's quiet, if you can do that, or go into a closet if you have to, or shut the door in your bedroom, whatever it is. Sit down and take a few deep breaths. And someone said, Ceree, what's the thing that brings you such joy? And there are two things. One is my yellow lab, who's been pacing out the door because he wants to be fed. And the other is my son. And all of us, if you've had children, you think about that little baby that you held and how you just had that just awesome joy. And I said to myself, if I can set my little timer for 1 minute, and that's all I'm going to feel is this wonderful, beautiful feeling. So if anyone is listening to this and you felt yourself just spinning, and you can't stop it, the best way to get out of it is to go through it by redirecting your energy. So stop the madness, walk outside, close the bedroom door, however you can calm yourself, and stop and put a timer for 1 minute, 1 minute only, and think about what you love and what brings you joy, and hold your hands over your heart and just think of that wonderful feeling. I mean, I get the goosebumps when I feel that. And after a minute, I'm like, wow, I'm okay. And I might do 2 minutes or however long it takes. Sometimes I'll walk out in nature and I will start looking for the feathers. I'll look for the birds. I'll look for the signs. And that really just kind of gets me back into center. Because what we need to remember, and Dawn, you said this, the energies are volatile. They're forcing us to look at our shadow side, or the sides of us that sometimes we don't want to look at. But the only way around it is through it. So how do we build tools, and how do we help people be okay with the fact that it might not feel good, or I might be in a spiral, or someone's triggered me? We always have ways to work through it. And so there's always hope, because managing energy is something that's very doable. It's very practical, but it starts with me. I have to manage me and my energy. So think about the spiral. I'm also in this group. out in California, I studied with a couple that they channel the energies of Yeshua or Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And he's a speech pathologist and she's a marketeer, and it just kind of happened. And the energy is absolutely beautiful. But when he was channeling Yeshua, Yeshua said to us, one of the ways that you can bring forth this beautiful Christ consciousness energy is to repeat a mantra. And he does it with us every time we have our call. It's once a month. And there are 2 phrases, and we say it 3 times a piece. I am who I am. I am who I am. I am who I am. And you repeat that 3 times. And on one of the calls, he was saying, I am who I am. He said it 3 times, and out of my mouth came green eggs and ham, from Dr. Seuss. So now we do, I am who I am 3 times, and I get to say in green eggs and ham. And then the next one is, I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Green eggs and ham. And so when I'm on my walks, and I've been caught by people, I'm not even paying attention. I say these mantras when I'm walking out by the ocean every morning as the sun is rising with the dog. And it's really lovely because it brings the Christ consciousness energy into your auric field. And they said and you will emanate this energy of love, pure love. And so that is another tip that has been given to me. The other one, someone gave me a tip of, think of an affirmation that you just want to repeat that's very soothing. So as I walk, I go, my 3 go-tos, I'll say, I am peace, I am joy, I am love. And then I have a 4th, whatever comes to my mind. And I'll go, I am love, I'm peace, I'm joy, I'm compassion. I'm love, I'm peace, I'm joy, I'm hope. I'm love, I'm joy, I'm peace. I'm forgiveness. I'm love, I'm joy, I'm peace. I'm divine. I'm love, I'm joy, I'm peace. And I kind of like to use that 4th one for whatever comes out of my mouth. And it just trains my brain of being in this lovely vibration of love and the attributes of the 5th dimension, the attributes of what we're trying to embody with the new earth. And so the more that I find myself using the words, it just puts me in such a very calm and centered energy. And it also helps the people around us to center and ground them. And so those are just a couple of tips that have been shared with me that I've been practicing, and I really feel the difference in my vibration, but people also notice it as I'm working with them. And I think we have an opportunity to help those who are ungrounded, who don't have the tools to be the light, but also to give people practical ways to quit the spiral, but to realize you can't hide. The energy is, as Dawn has pointed out, astrologically, is like we've never seen before. And we have a choice to work through it and not to deny it and try to stuff it down. And so as I work with people, it's always connecting with their energy and where they are, but helping them to clear the energy. And Angie, you did such a nice job in the meditation. I don't know if it's necessary to do the little clearing that we talked about earlier in the week. I can do it and I can show you, or we can pass. It's up to you.
What's our time like? We can
Was that the one where you were asleep, where you wake up? Was that the one?
Where you just clear
I think
the
you should
chakras.
share it. Just share
Yeah,
what you do.
I'm going to do it.
If we're talking about energy.
Yeah, I'll just stop because it's I'll do it very quickly. So I want everyone to close your eyes real fast. And you can do this in 30 seconds. So I do it before I get out of bed. I do it when I go to bed at night. And it's really to cleanse your chakras, but it's also to put a cone of protection, a white light around you. I do it when I drive. I do it when I travel. So use it accordingly. So if you take a couple of deep cleansing breaths, we're going to go a little quickly, but you get my idea. Just deep breaths in and exhale. And imagine that we have this white light above each of our heads, this beautiful, warm white light. Angie was referring to it. And imagine this white light about 2 feet above our heads, the soul star chakra. And we're going to imagine this light moving vertically all the way down through our bodies. And you can do this in your bed, but imagine that you're, standing up, or the light's going through you. This warm, inviting, beautiful white light coming down to meet the top of your head, the crown chakra, moving down to the third eye, the forehead. This beautiful white light continuing down to the throat chakra, down to the heart. The white light moving down to the solar plexus around the ribs, moving down to around the belly button, the sacral chakra, moving down to the tops of the legs, the root chakra, making us feel safe, grounded, and centered. And the white light continues down your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet, your toes. And this white light continues down deep into Mother Gaia, grounding your energy, connecting you with the earth. And imagine the white light coming back up from deep into the earth to meet your toes, moving through your feet, your ankles, your knees, tops of your legs, which is the root, going back through the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown chakra. And imagine this white light coming out of the crown and going way up into the heavens to connect to all there is. You can call it spirit, God. And imagine this white light coming back around each of us in this beautiful white cone of warm, inviting, protective light. We also ask Archangel Michael to be with us to protect our energy, to protect our space, and to keep us grounded and safe. And there you are. So you can do it. Like, I've been in situations where I was driving and I went and around, in 15 seconds. So it doesn't have to be very long, but you can do it in the morning, and you can actually do with your hands on yourself as you go through the chakras. And you just imagine the white light, and it's a beautiful, grounding, simple exercise that can protect your energy, but just to keep you clear. And especially if you know you're going to be around some rather challenging energies or situations, it's very helpful to do at all times. I do it all times. And so it's just, and I ask Archangel Michael to be with me and just to protect me. And I shared the story with Jennifer that it's a long story, but I was told not to go back into my home state for a variety of reasons. And I had to cross the border to hand over my sister some things when my mom passed about, it's been almost 4 years now. And I asked Archangel Michael for protection, and it was pouring rain. I crossed over the border into Tennessee. I was living in Georgia at the time, and I was literally just one exit in across the state line, and I was meeting my sister at a restaurant, and a gentleman hit me really hard on my driver's side, and we pulled over, and he was screaming at me. It was clearly his fault. He pulled out in front of me, and I was shaking, and I, prayed to Archangel Michael. And we go over to look at the car, both of our cars, and there was not a scratch on my car nor his car. And the crunch was so bad. You know how you just have that sickening, oh, yikes. But anyway, there was not a scratch on either car. And he just looked at me, and I said, I think we're good. And so I knew I was protected by angels. It was beautiful. So I know it works. So I think these are some tips, that have been taught to me. Very simple, very pragmatic, don't take a lot of time. But I think part of our role as exemplars, the third graders teaching the first graders, is that we do have some tools and some tips for those who are struggling, who don't know how to manage the energy. But I think my learning also is you can't go around it. You got to do the work. You got to go through it. But there are ways you can go through it with grace, with positivity and curiosity so that you can master the lesson. And Dawn, you talked about this from an astrology perspective. We're here to learn certain lessons. So what is coming out right now in terms of, emotions, wounds, whatever you call it, it's because we're meant to look at them in the mirror and say that's okay. And energetically, we all have an opportunity to help be way showers to those who frankly right now are lost. And that's what I just absolutely adore being able to do in a very pragmatic and loving way when people just don't know what to do and where to turn. And that's so powerful that all of us have this ability in our own ways, because you all have your own tips and techniques. But again, just sharing some things that some very wise masters who've given me this information and techniques. And I'll pass it over to Jen.
You guys so much. You had so much wonderful information. So we did have some questions in the comments, so I wanted to go through some of those real quick.
Great.
Let's see. Okay, we've got, should we be concerned when Pluto goes back into Capricorn that Chiron will be more difficult to deal with than it is now? Heavier, being more critical.
No, I think Chiron Pluto is dealing with the establishments that need correcting. That's what Pluto's doing. And it's going to be going back into Capricorn to do some work on whatever may have been these higher institutions that need work, whether it's still the banking or this other things that Pluto was bringing up when it was going through Capricorn for so long. The wounding with Chiron and everything, I think it's more related to, I don't think Pluto is going to affect us in that way. I think that what we're dealing with is the nodes, and the nodes are what are showing us that we need, being in North Node Aries, what we're going towards, and leaving those toxic relationships behind from Libra. And that is what Chiron is working on and helping us do. Everybody has in their own natal chart a Chiron location, and by house and by sign. So if it's, say, in the 10th house in Pisces, that might be that you have always wanted to be more of a spiritual business. That is one example. But Chiron for each person is going to be different. If it's in the 4th house, it can be related to a wound on your family, by your family. So right now, our learning is about relationships and doing the inner work on ourselves, and not getting caught up in getting away from those bad relationships, and then finding your tribe. That's the other part. Aquarius is actually helping us go into that tribe area where you're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to take the Aries lesson and learn to be yourself and be different. And then Aquarius is like, oh, good, someone different. Come on and join the party. That is what Aquarius is bringing.
All right. Let's see, we've got a question about, do we have a link for Tarot Talk? We're rethinking it. So as soon as I get that figured out, we will make sure you have that information. Will there be links to connect with everyone? I will add the links. After we finish, I'll add it down in the description box and make sure that you can connect with each of the readers. Let's see. Okay, that's all the questions that we have for now. So did anybody else have anything they wanted to add?
I think I know one thing with the astrology coming through, we're going to be moving into more air. And that was expressed by the different people giving signs of how to break that hamster wheel brain. Jupiter is going to be moving into Gemini, which is very active, very, so taking ways to quiet the mind, whether that's why runners run, because then they don't think about anything. That's why people stare at campfires, because they don't think about anything but the fire. Those are super healthy things to quiet the mind. And as well as all the tips that have been given here. But, you have to start somewhere. And those are very simple things to do. And it's going to be needed. And the other thing is moving. Move your body. Walking is perfect. Walking in nature is even better. You need that time to get rid of all this extra energy that's going to be running around. So physical activity is going to be good. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're moving.
I agree. I actually rewatched my astrology reading this morning. Some of it, not all of it, but I mean, like, I know she talked about 222, so I'm going back. I'm going to see what she told me. So
You
I
have that
appreciate that
today?
too. I did that this morning. Yeah.
Oh,
I rewatched it.
I had 222 on 222 and I screenshotted it because I do numbers back and forth with a lady that's now also addicted to numbers.
Oh, did you see twos like crazy
I did
today?
the
I did.
222.
Like everywhere it was
That's
222.
awesome. Love it.
All right, so I'm going to pull cards from the Art of Manifestation Oracle. And my question is just how can we stay in control throughout these turbulent energies to still bring in our desired reality? So let's see. Outcome. This card asks you to not be too attached to a specific outcome. In any new situation, the possibilities are open-ended. Anything might happen. Try not to prescribe a fixed outcome within your mind, as this may limit your availability to access the infinite scope of possibilities sent to guide you in the best possible direction. And so I do think that we do need to release the outcome. Like for any manifestation, you set the intention and then you release the outcome, because it's going to be that or something better. That or something better. We have take a leap. This card is an invitation to take a leap of faith. Sometimes, even when we desperately desire change, we procrastinate and find all kinds of reasons as to why we should stay as we are. It's completely understandable to be anxious when stepping into the unknown. This card is telling you to trust and make that move. So all those things that you want are on that other side of fear. And I have been jumping through fear all this past year. This what I'm doing right here is jumping through fear. But I mean, you have so much positive on the other side of that. All the things that you're wanting are on the other side of fear. And
That's so cool too. That is what Ceree said. To go through it.
yeah. And
Cards are
unhappiness.
The root does not argue with the rock.
Unhappiness. Unhappiness is frequently the result of an inability to live in alignment with the calling of our soul. When this happens, our uneasy and challenging emotions are an indication that we need to listen to ourselves. This card asks you to have faith and to trust. Get still, meditate, listen to the voice of your heart, and open yourself to receive guidance. And so, I mean, I think that we can give ourselves a hard time over our emotions, but our emotions are giving us information. Our emotions are telling us where we're out of alignment. And so, like, if you can see that anger is your soul telling you, this is not what I want for my life, or the unhappiness, all of those things are showing you where you're out of alignment. And so you're supposed to be following the things that bring joy, that bring you up, instead of the things that bring you down. All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
Can you say those three cards again, just
Three
like
cards.
the
Yeah.
I wanted to
Those cards backed up everything we said.
I have outcome.
Thank you. That's so cool.
Take a leap.
Oh, what are the numbers?
Okay. And unhappiness. We have 41,
7 and
52, and 61.
41, 5, 7, and 7.
577. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Jen. No.
That day, Jen, that I think I would talk to you about it. Like I woke up feeling a little anxious and I played the David Mahal Fire song because it's like, have a little playlist ready, like have just a go-to song. And then they'll give you something, you know, the spirit will give you something else that you don't know. If you ask a question, you know, tell me what I need to know for today, or give me a hint. And that was Take a Giant Leap was the name of the song. We always have stuff that's
I know,
similar.
like
It's
our
so
cards
funny.
are always like
I know.
right together.
And
I love that.
it was after my Galentine's Day. So
So cool. So cool. Totally resonating with
I
it.
love it.
Well, again,
That's
thank
so
you guys
cool.
so much for everything that y'all put together for this. I just like I've had a really tough few weeks. I needed this. I needed this.
Yeah.
I didn't have a whole lot to share myself just because I'm just kind of feeling the energies. But I am so appreciative that all of you, you know, you came and you brought it. So thank you. And I'm appreciative of just getting to be getting to work with you guys, getting to know you guys. Just, I mean, you have changed my life, every one of you. And I
Same.
appreciate you.
Well, and I would say to anyone watching, you know, we're all in this new reality together where there's no playbook for any of this. And the energies are impacting all of us, and we've all been triggered. So I can only speak for me. I've been triggered. And so I'm by no means a master of anything. And so we'll all get through it together, and it's just one step at a time. So if you're struggling out there, don't lose hope. There are so many resources and people, good people who can assist, but you're not weird or strange. This is just what we're all going through. And I just say, just find a way to have the courage to go through it and not to deny it and just stuff it down. Because the more you do that, as Dawn has said, it's going to come right in your face until you actually choose to deal with it. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm not an astrologer, but the layman's version is that's what we're faced with.
Or it'll come back. Yeah. You're
It'll come
either,
back.
it's always if you don't learn the lesson, it comes back.
Yeah.
So that I think is what everybody should, and remind everybody that, and to me, just to remind everybody that this is about community and finding your tribe. There's people out there, and you don't have to be the same as anybody else. Aquarius doesn't even want you to be the same as anybody else. They let your freak flag fly. Just
Be you.
everybody has something to bring to the, you know, and the reason that those other relationships weren't working is that they're not vibrationally a match for you anymore. And you have to find that vibrational match. So that is happening. And we're going to keep looking and just take this as a time of self-evaluation and self-care, and that you're supposed to be learning things and going through a learning process, because there is a great big reward at the end of this, is that you know that you can do this. This brings strength. This is that strength card. This will bring strength, but you don't have to do it entirely by yourself. I mean, that's what Aquarius is. That's the community. That's why Venus and Mars are conjunct. We don't have to be alone to do this.
Yep. I love it. Love it.
Beautifully
Jen,
said.
thanks for hosting.
None of us think anything is weird anymore, by the way. I don't know about you guys,
No.
but everybody goes, this is so weird. And I'm like, wait,
I know in my readings, they're
literally
always like, you'll
nothing is
probably
weird
think this is
anymore.
crazy. No, probably not.
Thank you
Got
guys.
to be
Right up
all
my
of us.
alley.
Thanks to
All
those who've
right.
been
Thank you
watching.
guys.
Very
Thank,
great.
thank you, everyone.
Bye.